Hello everyone, welcome to Men on Fire. My name is Mike Aren, a former mechanic and engineer turned transformational teacher. And each week I'll deliver an inspiring message to help you excavate those repressed inner negative feelings and install new thoughts that will finally allow you to truly become the person you were born to be. Hey, one more thing before we get going. Are you feeling stressed, anxious, or frustrated these days? If you are, and you'd like a little help, go to calendly.com/soul mechanic booking and book a 15-minute clarity call with me absolutely free. That's Calendly, CALENDLY.com/soul mechanic booking. Also, if you're looking for an accomplished public speaker to speak in person or virtually at your next event or meeting, I can help you out there too. Okay, let's get on with the show. Welcome, and welcome to another episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic TV and Soul Mechanic Radio. On today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about something that is seemingly probably kind of a routine thing, and maybe a little bit insignificant, but as we'll find out, it's very, very powerful. And that is the power of a morning routine. Now, bear with me here. We're going to get into some quantum physics a little bit later in this discussion. So hang in and let's see where this takes us. So I want to ask you, what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? Now, if you're like most people out there, you grab your phone. Admit it. You grab your phone from your bed table or wherever it happens to be sitting, and most of you will lay in bed and start scrolling, start checking things, start checking Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Take a picture of your feet, of your cat, or whatever that happens to be. And you check your email and then probably check some news. And then finally you stumble out of bed after you've checked everything and that's known in your life, because that's what the big part of your life is all this social media stuff, right? So you're checking that and you're reaffirming to yourself what your identity is and who you are. But as we'll find out, that's not really who you are. It's only your identity as you know it. And then you finally go through this routine of habitual things and behaviors, which is, could be brushing your teeth, shower, make your lunch to go to work, or get your coffee ready, jump in the car and drive to work or your place of employment or whatever that happens to be. And you're not even really checked in anymore. All you're doing is remembering your problems from the past, especially once you get to work, right? The problems that you left behind the day before. And you're remembering those problems from your past, and that's how 95% of people start their day. Now, does this sound like a recipe for success to you? Do you think that the billionaires around the world are doing this same routine? No, I didn't think so. So instead of plugging yourself into your device, which is almost like we're connected to the Matrix, when you first wake up and that hampers you. But what if you lay there, opened your eyes when you first wake up, and you asked yourself, what is the greatest expression of myself that I can present to the world today? What if you told yourself, I'm not going to be this guilty and feel so unworthy, because these are just old thoughts from the past. So what if you woke up and asked yourself, who do I want to be today? What thoughts do I want to think? Let me plan my behaviors today. I'm going to leave my sadness and pain behind, and I'm going to open my heart, and I'm going to feel gratitude, joy, and inspiration. Now, do you think you'd feel a little different about your day coming up? And once you do this, your job then is to maintain that modified state of mind and body that you put yourself in the entire day. And that's challenging. I realize that. But that's your job now. And once you're able to do this, get ready, because something unusual is about to happen in your life. And then you say, well, but Mike, how is this possible? Surely, if this was possible, I would have done this already. I would have known this already. The government would have told me about it. My parents would have told me about it. My friends would have told me about it. If everybody's doing this or able to do this, how come I don't know? How come I don't know about this? Well, this has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And all the wisdom traditions and spiritual teachers have taught this. But only a few have listened. But there's more and more people waking up to this, and you can too now. And we teach you how to take your brain and body out of the past and put it into the future. That's part of what we teach here at Infinite Success Academy. So you take your brain and body out of the past, because what you were doing when you were waking up, you were constantly in the past, right? Expecting the same thing going to happen. You had your same routine the whole day. So we have to get you out of the past and start getting into the future. But if you just keep doing your old habits and routines, you'll be back to your old self, and nothing will ever change in your life. Is this really what you want? I didn't think so. So, okay. So how do we change it? Let's get into some of the science of it, is which I was talking about earlier. Are you ready? Good. So when you start and begin to plan your behaviors and plan what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, then you start telling your brain that the event has already occurred. Do you follow that? So instead of doing that rote routine you were doing in the morning, if you tell yourself those good things I mentioned earlier, and then you start to plan your day, what you really want to accomplish and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, then you're priming your brain to think of the future, of being in the future. And it doesn't really know the difference. So it starts to think, yeah, I'm already in the future. So therefore, you're moving from the past, constantly being in that past when you woke up and doing the same thing over and over and over, which is just a program. You're now creating a new program and putting your mind already, priming it to be in the future. So this creates emotions so that your behaviors match your intentions. Your actions will equal your thoughts. And as you know, I'm a big promoter of thoughts become things. So now let's take a little look at this through the quantum physics spectrum. Okay, so what is quantum anyway? Well, quantum physics says that your mind and matter are so connected that it's impossible to separate them. So matter, particles, things, everything that around us, and including us, were all made out of that, right? So quantum physics is a study of the tiniest particles like electrons and protons. And what they expected when they started studying these things way back was that these particles would behave like the planets do, rotating around our sun. A predictable pattern, in other words. But they don't. What they found out is they don't. They actually, these tiny particles, electrons, protons, respond to our mind. They respond to our minds. And this is called the observer effect. So the electrons that are out there normally in a wave state as energy waves, they know they're being observed because they are interacting with the observer's particles or protons, which is what causes the collapse from their waveform into particle form. So they're interacting with, if you're watching it, they return from energy waves into particles because you are watching it, and they sense that the energy field around us, which we'll get into in a moment, sends off signals that they know they're being watched. So they change. And you can, if you want to Google the observer effect, there's lots of science on that and a good explanation of it online as well. So then if the observers, for example, you and I, we turn our backs and we no longer look at the electrons, or we're out of range, they revert back to their waves of potential energy, which is what they are. They're waves of potential energy that can be manipulated once they turn into particles, which starts to be matter, into things that we can affect and manifest. And you've all heard about manifesting things, the law of attraction, all that sort of thing. This is part of the science of that. So what does this all mean then? Well, the mind is affecting the matter. And if you wake up every morning and do the exact same thing that you've been doing for the last 10 years, then we can take your past, set it into the future, and that's all you're going to have forever and ever. So if you don't change your routine, whatever you're doing now, just take that over, set it into a bowl in the future 10 years from now, and that's exactly what you'll have. So that's how important this seemingly ubiquitous morning routine is, right? So when you're viewing your life with the same mindset every day then, and you're collapsing the same potential energy waves into the same electrons all the time, is what's happening, right? You're collapsing those energy waves into the same electrons, same particles all the time, creating your same reality. So what's the significance of all this then, you're saying? Well, in quantum physics, all possibilities exist in the present moment. So all things happen in the present moment then. But most people's brains are anticipating the future based on their past. And they're not in the present. And the past has already happened. So how can we run into the future with a ball and chain from the past? We can't. The only way we can get to the future is through the present moment. And there's been many books written on it. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a great one, if you ever want to read that one. The power of now, the now moment, the present moment, is the only moment that has, is, and will ever exist. It just right now, the second, the next second, the next. It's the only moment that exists. So we can only create our future from this present moment. And in this case, as we've been talking about, is changing our behaviors, right? Because thoughts become things. And the way you think is the way you feel. The way you feel is the way you act. And the way you act is the results you get in your life. It's so simple when you think about it. I know some of this maybe sounds a little bit off color to you or complicated, but it's not. Okay, so how it works is most people don't know this, but there's this invisible energy field around your body. And when we react to something, we draw energy from this field and we convert it into chemical form within our body, right? And that gives us our emotions. But when this happens and the field shrinks around us, so we're losing energy, right? And now we are more matter and less energy. So we're becoming more particle and less wave. But in this state, you are matter trying to control. So physical, you're becoming more physical matter. There's less energy now in you, and you are trying to control or force other people or things, other matter. And this is what happens when people get competitive. They manipulate, cheat, steal, because that's the only way they can get what they want, through the loss of their energy. They feel this is the only thing they can do now. And you know this to be true when you walk into a room and you have negative people around you. It's like they're sucking the energy right out of you. And that's what they're doing. They're taking your energy, and because they already are low energy because they're negative, and they're trying to fortify their force energy, their force field, their energy to them. And that's what they do. They're energy suckers. They're hungry. And if you have ever been around somebody that's really positive, and they come into a room, they just exude that positivity and love and empathy and kindness. And then they leave and you go like, I don't know what happened. They didn't even touch me, but I feel good. How is that possible? They gave you energy. Their energy field is so big that they were allowed to give you energy, and you grabbed it. And that's what happens. There's always an exchange of energy in everything that happens in the universe. And when you begin to open your heart and sustain this elevated emotion, you can actually broaden this energy field that surrounds our body to over 9 meters, or that's over 30 feet wide. And now you are more energy than you are matter. So you're more wave than you are particle. And now you can exert better effects on your reality. You're not trying to force something. You're not trying to manipulate people. You're not trying to be competitive. You're not trying to steal or cheat or do any of those things anymore. You don't have to. You have the energy, and what you're working towards is putting thoughts and intentions out there and bringing things to you, right? That's that law of attraction part. So the thoughts that you think are an electrical charge in the quantum field. And the emotions and feelings that come from these thoughts are a magnetic charge on the quantum field. So think of a pebble dropped in a pond. You drop a small pebble in the pond, and of course we all know the ripple effect. We've seen the ripples go out concentrically until they die off eventually, right? Because they get it too far away from the center. But if you threw a bigger rock in, you'd have a bigger magnitude of waves, right? So the bigger the rock, the more effect. And that's the theme behind the larger energy field. When you start opening your mind and body to these things, your energy field will grow, and you will have a bigger effect on the quantum field. And the emotions and feelings that come from these thoughts are the magnetic charge on the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that affects every single atom in your life. The thought sends a signal out, the feeling draws it back to you, like events back to you. So if you're walking around feeling sorry for yourself and you feel like a victim in life, you will draw more instances of that to your life, and you will suffer. And many of us have gone through that. I've gone through that myself. No one is immune to this. We're up and down all the time. This type of thing takes a lot of patience and time and practice, but you can get there. So when people learn to produce coherent signals in both their brain and their heart, because that huge magnetic field that can go out to over 9 meters or over 30 feet, that emanates from your heart. The signals from your heart are so much more powerful than from our minds. The heart is actually the center of it all. It's not our minds at all. So when you can get them in congruence and having coherent signals, then that's when the magic happens. That's when you can really make things happen, because you can have positive thoughts all day long. Yeah, this is going to work, that's going to work, I know it is, but you could be miserable underneath. And the signals aren't the same, so they're mixed. They're not going to come together and bring to you what you really want. And that's what happens with many of us that think, you know what, I tried the secret, I tried to manifest, it just didn't work, and this sucks anyway, and it's all hogwash. Well, it's not. You're just not doing it correctly. That's all. So I'm hoping by explaining some of the science here that you might be able to catch on to this and maybe give it another try. So the mind is open to the belief that more is possible for you if you start doing this. So it all takes training and practice, like I mentioned before, and time, and above all else, that open mind. That open mind that you can get your life back, that you can step away from this world that is programming us to think certain thoughts so that we can be easily manipulated. And that life is hard, stressful, and that you are unworthy of all of its blessing, that you can affect the energy around you and therefore manipulate matter. And an open mind that you are the most incredible creating machine ever conceived. That life is actually about the management of energy. That's what everything is made of in the universe, is the same energy. We came from the same thing that the sun is made out of, this earth is made out of, every planet in this solar system and beyond is made of. We're the same thing. So we just have to learn how to use it. And if you can do that, then you will start to experience what we call a successful life. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode. I hope this served you. I hope I was able to explain a little bit better. It's not an easy thing to do to try to explain that, but please keep an open mind. Think about it. Watch us a couple times maybe, or drop me an email at mike@mikearen.com. I'd love to answer your emails and perhaps even put you on the right trajectory to the success in your life. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye for now. Hey, are you having trouble living the life of your dreams? Guess what? You're not the problem. It's not that you're not smart enough, deserving enough, or even hardworking enough. The problem is that you haven't yet installed the one key belief that will change everything. Want to know what it is? You're the one. That's right. You are the one. The world is waiting for you to give it that one special gift that only you possess. Want to find out more? Head to my website at mikearen.com to order my new trilogy, You're the One. The first two books are available together in an omnibus book with the exciting final installment of the series available soon. And while you're there, download a free ebook or two to help make a difference in your life today. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. As always, keep what feels good and dump what doesn't. And remember, live without judgment, give without expectation, and love for no reason. Follow those three simple expressions and you'll be well on your way to an inspirational, intentional, and successful life. Until next time, you're the one.